You're watching CTV News Channel. I'm Roger Peterson. Thanks very much for joining us. Well, Donald Trump is set to hold a high-profile rally in Butler, Pennsylvania today at the exact same spot where he survived an assassination attempt in July. The rally is considered a key moment ahead of the presidential election next month. He survived the attempt in July as well as a second incident while playing golf in Florida last month. And let's bring in Eric Ham, our CTV News political analyst. Eric, thanks as always for joining us.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
What do you expect to see from this rally in Butler? Will this be a moment for Trump, or is it just going to be another rally?
Actually, I think Donald Trump is hoping to recreate a moment. I think he's trying to recreate that energy from the first time there was the attempted assassination. We know already Joe Biden at that time was hemorrhaging. Many within his own party were beginning to lose support, and the calls were growing for him to exit the race. When the assassination attempt on Donald Trump occurred, that essentially solidified Donald Trump as the front runner in the party. But now what we're seeing is Donald Trump is trailing, albeit by a small amount, in many of these national as well as key battleground states. And so what we're seeing here is Donald Trump is hoping to go back literally to the scene of the crime to hope that can actually begin to actually turn around his fortunes, which we see with 30 days left until the election. It's looking more and more like he's continuing to trail, and Kamala Harris, at least in some polls, is beginning to put some distance between the two of them.
What do you think he would have to do at this rally for it to become that moment, possibly a defining moment of the campaign?
I think much like what we have seen from Kamala Harris with her outreach to a number of Republicans, including Liz Cheney, where Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris had that joint event in Wisconsin earlier this week at the birthplace of the Republican Party. That was seen as a move to reach out to tamp down on the polarization that we have seen that has come to define U.S. politics right now. And I think that's what we will need to see from Donald Trump. Look, we know a lot of Donald Trump's supporters are going to be there. Elon Musk will be there. A number of members of Congress, even his running mate, J.D. Vance, is going to be there. But there needs to be, I think, a moment during this event where Donald Trump can show not only his base of support, but independent voters and suburban women that he can be a stable force if, in fact, he is president of the United States.
Yeah, of course, the question is, can he do that?
That is the big question. I believe, look, we've already heard from Donald Trump's team that they want this to be a very different moment to reach out, and that is how this is being billed. However, when Donald Trump starts talking, that's when we see something very different, very similar to what we saw during his address at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, where he went completely off script and began to just droll on and on for more than 90 minutes. That's what they do not want to happen, particularly as now the ex-president is beginning to make his closing argument to the voters in a race that many see as razor thin already.
And Pennsylvania is a key state.
It is. It's a key state, and it will likely be the bellwether state in this election, and meaning that whoever wins Pennsylvania will likely win the election. And given the fact that right now, Roger, what we're seeing with North Carolina and Georgia, two states that both candidates were vying for, specifically North Carolina, a state that Democrats hoped and thought and think they can flip, given the destruction that hurricane has done to those two states, it's unclear where those states are going to fall in terms of who wins or who loses. But Pennsylvania is still a state that will undoubtedly determine the tone and the trajectory of this race, depending on how it goes.
Okay, Eric, thank you as always, sir.
Thank you.
Eric Ham is our CTV News political analyst.